What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bucco Territory, presented to you by the Foul Territory Network. My name is Noah Hiles, and joining me, as always, are my co-hosts Josh Harrison, aka Hiles and Platinum Key, aka Mark. Got a loaded show for you today. Going to talk about some roster cuts made during spring training, some World Baseball Classic talk, as always. The USA still alive, and they will play on Friday, the day you're listening to this, in the quarterfinals against Canada. And then we will round out the show with our segment, Jay Hey Now, where Josh gives some insight on what's going on with a specific part of the Pirates. So we're going to start off with some roster cuts. The Pirates announced some roster cuts today. It was their second round of roster cuts. So I have them in front of me now. Just real quick to read them off. They reassigned Derek Berg, Nick Simillo, Nick Domkowski, Deuce Gorson, Tamar Johnson, Ronnie Simon, and Davis Wenzel to minor league camp. Nothing super surprising there. A couple of days prior to that, they had their first round of roster cuts, and included in that group was Thomas Harrington, which I was a little surprised to see. I'll open this to Mark because I have two questions, one for each of you. Mark, I'll just start off. I mean, were you surprised to see any of these, decisions this early in camp?
Yeah, I thought the Thomas Harrington one was a little bit intriguing because he's had a great spring so far. I mean, just a couple episodes ago, we were talking about how he could be one of the guys that would be in contention for that fifth starting spot. So maybe they just want to give him some more time. That was one thing that really stood out to me. And then the other big name would be Tamar Johnson. I don't think that's a shock, though, to see Tamar go down. I think that was expected. It was just a matter of when. But the biggest shock, I think, of all is who wasn't included, and that is Connor Griffin. There's still a chance that he's going to be your opening day shortstop. I'd say it's a pretty good chance if he's not been sent down yet. But we'll hear what you guys have to think about that.
Yeah, just real quick on the note of Griffin, I agree. I mean, I think because there's so much momentum behind this idea of him making the big league team. Like, if the Pirates knew that this guy wasn't going to get rostered, they would have cut the cord by now. They would have just said, "All right, hey, he got his taste. We're done. He's going to go to AAA, and we'd rather deal with the fallout from the fans now on March 12th, March 13th, as opposed to the day before opening day, putting a sour taste in everyone's mouth." So, Josh, I want to ask you. I mean, what's it like when you've been on the wrong side of those cuts, right? When you're younger, and then you've survived those cuts. You made a lot of.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, I was never optioned in spring. So
there you go. Okay.
So when I mean, 12, 13, and even 14, I was literally the 25th man. I saw a lot of my counterparts, a lot of my friends, my teammates, on those days. And it's one of those days where, roster cuts, everybody knows that they're coming. And kind of the locker room is, I don't want to say on edge, but the bench coach is walking around. Whenever he's walking around, everybody knows, like, oh, people getting sent down today. And when you show up, you might already see somebody that's cleaning out their locker. And you got guys going over, "Hey man, hey, I'll see you," or encouraging words, but at the same time, guys like trying not to make eye contact as the bench coach is walking by, but at the same time, like, make eye contact with me and just give me the nod, like, you good. So it's one of those things where it's part of the competition. It's healthy. And just because you are sent down doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be part of the plans. There's only so many that can make the team. And everybody knows that at some point, somebody's going to be needed. Somebody's going to go down. But that's not to say that you don't want to make the team out of spring and you don't feel that you should. But, roster cuts are days that it's a little, you've survived it. So on one end, you're like, yeah. But on the other end, you're like, dang, man, I can't imagine the emotions that, my boy is going through. And then I'm going to say on the flip side, roster cuts is no more big league spring training money. Guys that don't necessarily make the roster, that big league allowance allows them to, pay dues, do certain things. So, like, now they're going over to Pirate City. They're still staying where they stay. But, like, some of the things that they have gotten, a little bit of surplus that allows them to breathe a little freely, it just makes you want to get back to that spot much more. So those guys that have been a part of it, these first couple cuts. It's not the end of the world. It sucks, but at the same time, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Right.
It's always interesting seeing how lifeless the clubhouse gets. Like when compared
You've
to,
experienced,
when you get over to Lecom, like the week when you guys move over there from Pirate City, it is like elbow to
Christmas
elbow
morning.
in there.
It's like,
Like just see how many people are in there. But then by like the final week of spring training, when it's trimmed down to, under 40 guys, depending on, who's hurt or whatever, and like it's quiet. It's, you notice, like in the young guys who survived the first round of cuts, they don't have their boys there to talk to anymore. So it's a little quiet that way. And the veterans are quiet because they're just like, all right, like, like I was talking to Brandon Lau today. Yeah, I was talking to Brandon Lau today. He's like, yeah, once we get into these double-digit days in March, I'm just ready for the season to start. And it's funny to see the contrast in guys who think that way versus the guys being like, listen, every day I wake up and I'm not in Pirate City, I call that a win. So,
yeah.
So we're gonna get into You've seen it.
Yeah. We're going to get into the World Baseball Classic, but first, before we do, an ad read from our sponsors.
The #1 rated ticketing app is SeatGeek, and you can get 10% off on SeatGeek's app by using the code Territory10. So you should use it, AJ.
Oh, I'm definitely going to use it for WBC games in Miami because I want to go to the semifinals and the finals.
They're going to be sold out.
Absolutely. Spring training games for the people out there who want to go to spring training games. Absolutely great idea. Best seats rated 1 through 10. And I recently had to use SeatGeek to buy tickets to a Florida Gators basketball game that was sold out. So I love the code Territory 10% off, and the rating is the best.
Yeah, he's talking about each ticket rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. And of course, we have a code for you. Like I mentioned, it's Territory 10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code TERRITORY10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to SeatGeek.
All right, so the U.S. advances. Team Italy, the Pasquatch really did his job.
Thank you, Vinny.
I loved him calling out Team USA afterward.
Directly in the camera.
They're probably watching at your hotel right now. Yeah. Real quick, Josh, actually, before we get into Team USA, I mean, how proud are you of Francisco Cervelli? I mean, this guy's – I know he seems very determined to grow the game of baseball in Italy, but if you're a major league team watching this, how do you not hire this guy to be your AAA manager, if not, your bench coach?
Cervi, playing with him was the same way. Like great energy. And I'm sure all those guys in that dugout on Team Italy feels it. I mean, looking at him over there in the dugout, seeing him so calm and chill is a little different for me because I'm used to, hearing him talk so much behind the plate but I know Cervi was somebody that played the game with a lot of passion and loved it. And to hear the story of how he wants to grow the game in Italy, I think he's the perfect guy for it. He walked to that's amore. That's Cervi in a nutshell. And definitely proud of him, man. He was one of my favorite teammates because he showed up every day. And just happy for him. And best of luck to him. We'll see if they cross paths again. But one of those things where I think it definitely opens up a door for him if he wants to do that. In affiliated ball, but that's going to be up to Cervi.
So Team USA advances. They play Canada on Friday evening. That will be their quarterfinal matchup, and then they head to Miami if they win, where they will play, I believe, Sunday evening against, I think, the winner of Dominican Republic or Korea. You don't want to get ahead of it, but there's a very good chance it will be.
But that would be Skeens, right?
Yep.
It would be Paul Skeens versus the Dominican Republic.
Want to
get your thoughts, Mark?
Well, it might be Korea too.
Yeah,
Korea's good. Korea's good. And listen, we both pulled a Mark DeRosa on our last episode by both admitting that USA was going to qualify before they did. So
should have said it like Albert Pujols. We should have checked with our team of people around us to let us know. I mean, players mess up too.
And managers, yeah.
And managers, right?
I was taking that from Mike Epps from Next Friday. Players mess up too.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
and managers too, though.
But so let's just assume in this hypothetical world that's what happens.
Right.
It's Paul Skeens Day. It's Dominican Republic. Just as Mark, how do you as a fan who's worried about Paul Skeens' health, right? But you also want to let him shove. Are you comfortable with letting this guy get 5 ups in this game?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a 95 pitch limit for the semis if he was to go. I don't know if he'll touch that, but I mean, I think he'll throw more than what we saw in the group stages. But that matchup, oh my gosh! I mean, the Dominican Republic's lineup is filthy. Like 1 through 9, just filthy. And so to see just one of the best lineups in the world going against the best pitcher in the world, it would be so electric. I mean, I think I would be looking forward to that matchup more than like a USA-Japan matchup and rematch in the finals. Just because it just seems so electric. The Latin style of play where the Dominican is just Republican, it's just going to be going crazy. And the juxtaposition of that with Paul Skeens on the mound, just like stoic, like saluting his home plate the catcher and everything. And it would be so much fun. So I really hope that scenario plays out. And thankful that Italy gave us the opportunity to still have that happen.
Josh, what would it mean for the game, right? I mean, you see the atmosphere that the Dominican Republic fan base brings to Miami, and to see that type of energy in a ballpark, those names in the lineup for both teams, and then to have the biggest pitching star on the planet, one of the two, right, on the mound facing him. I mean, what does that mean for baseball?
Man, it is going to be nuts if this does, happen to come into fruition. Being a part of it in 2017 when we played in pool play just against the Dominican in pool play down in Miami, it felt like it was the championship game. I'm talking Nelson Cruz hit like the go-ahead home run. Stadium goes crazy. We were leading up until then. I'm talking back and forth. Me and Kutch on the bench looking at Marte and Polanco on the other side. Like, it wasn't just players. It was the whole place that felt the energy. And for where the game has grown now, with this televised, it ain't going to just be the whole place. It's going to be everybody at home that's watching. It's going to be, all the bars, wherever it's being showed. Because you watch baseball and you watch the Dominican and you watch how they celebrate. They enjoy the game.
Yeah,
to some people, it's overboard. It's too much. I see people playing with passion. Yes, it'd be too much over 162 games because you just physically can't do that. That's a lot. But in these moments, these guys are out there having fun. And I think it'd be something to see because, they're going to be out there and, we know USA ain't shaking no hands. And Team Dominican going to be the complete opposite of that. And that right there, I think, is enough to say, hey, these are the two teams that people want to see. And not only that, seeing the best pitcher on the planet, that might cause more excitement because could you imagine how quiet that crowd would be if he was able to shut down that lineup? Because I experienced how loud they can be, and everybody else has seen on TV. So I think the matchup.
I mean, that silence alone would be loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I would be interested to see how Paul's emotions are in that game because he's so stoic. Like he's so composed.
I think he'd still be stoic, but I think you'd see
a
little bit more out of him.
Part of me,
I think you'd see a little bit more emotion.
Right. I look
still
back to his LSU starts, and when you would see him on like a Friday night game, you saw, and obviously he was younger. It was a different stage. College baseball is obviously a totally different atmosphere. But honestly, the vibe that Dominican fans bring is probably more comparable to SEC baseball than anything else we have in this country as far as the external noisemakers, just
the passion,
living and dying by every pitch. So I would like to see Paul Skeens maybe talk a little crap back. Like, if they're going to back
you will.
Them,
I would like to see you might see some AJ sit the F down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just, and not him, just, I think you'll see some competitiveness come out of guys that, otherwise haven't had a chance to experience it at this level consistently. And I'm excited if it happens.
And I'll say, if you have anyone in your life that you're trying to get into baseball, have them watch this game. Like, I think this is like the perfect example of showing, like, if someone's like, oh, baseball's too boring, like, I don't understand why it's so much fun, like, why people are getting into it. This is the perfect example. Is so much passion, so much talent, and yeah, just on a national stage, it's gonna be great. So can't wait.
Now, I will say, before that comes to fruition, they got to take care of business against Canada on Friday.
Yes.
I've talked way too much shit on that country post-Olympics.
Oh my God, yeah. After the gold medal in hockey.
I've rubbed it in Canada's face that we got the gold in men's and women's hockey way too much. So we need. It would be bad for America. It'd be bad for Noah Hiles.
It would be so funny though.
Definitely can't overlook Canada though, for sure.
Yeah.
They're going to be a solid opponent for sure.
No, I'll say you can. Canada stinks. We're gonna beat them. We stole their sport on the ice. This is our sport. We invented it. We will beat you. The Italian thing. This is the big thing. Honestly, my final take on all of this is, if you look around the entire tournament, it seems like every team really gave a damn.
Yeah.
Aside from maybe the United States. That's kind of been the question: is how invested is this team? It seems like the players are invested, but are the people running the team invested? Are the teams that these guys play for, do they really give a damn?
Right.
Who's able to pitch and everything and the headaches that it's caused? Now it's time for the U.S. to show just how invested they are. Let's see you guys, make the opportunity, make the most of this opportunity, this second life that you've been given, thanks to the family, the Italian brothers who came through. Let's see what you can do with it, because I think there is a great chance for some incredible baseball to be played over the weekend. I think we can leave it there. So let's go over now to our final segment of the day. Jay Hay now. Josh, what do you got for us?
All right, shifting gears to Jay Hay now. It's where I take a little bit of time for those that haven't seen it yet, where I highlight something that I like or maybe dislike, or something that may need to be improved upon, whatever the case may be. And this week, it actually is going to be stemmed from a mailbag question we got. It was asking if we should be concerned about Henry Davis, who hasn't recorded a hit up until this point. And my Hey Now segment isn't just about Henry Davis. It's the catching situation. The catchers haven't hit well. And I know it's spring training, so my whole thing was the mailbag question about Henry Davis made me look further into, if we're asking Henry to be somewhat of a defensive catcher that can, hopefully hit league average, we cannot have that counterpart hitting the same amount or whatever Henry is. So I know it's spring training. Guys aren't really ramped up, especially catchers. That's probably the toughest position to really get ready to hit. So that's why I'm giving these guys grace. But at the same time, as we've gone through this whole episode today, we realized that, hey, roster cuts have been made. Rosters are, being shortened, which means you're getting closer to getting ready to head up north. And I said it the other day. You want to have a little bit of success. You want to see some ball found, a little bit of grass. So my Hey Now segment is, hey, catchers, hey, pulling for you guys. Like, let's go. Jay Hay got you. I'm on your side. So my segment is not to tear them down, but to say, hey, we getting it ramped up, and I'm ready for these guys to kick into gear and, join the guys that are ready to go up north.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, before we were recording, said they all sucked. So I don't know.
Sounds just like them, yeah.
Yeah. Mark, the known contrarian for Pirates, takes, the negative guy.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I mean, I think it is a storyline. Like, I don't think it's like a problem. Like, I don't think fans should be panicking. But when you do look, I mean, Colin, my coworker, wrote about this Wednesday, and it was just a story about how it's like they're not hitting. Like, Andy Rodriguez is hitting, but they have him they're still monitoring his health.
Yeah, he's been DHing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been DHing.
My biggest thing, right. And my biggest thing was, I know he was Bart was a possible trade candidate, still is, or whatever, if possible. But granted, these stats don't count, but it doesn't necessarily help if that's what they were trying to do.
For sure.
So that's the other thing. So, I mean, I was like, well, Indy's hitting well, but as you just said, they are, trying to monitor his health, which Joey hasn't really done much to say, okay, yes, this is somebody's, but stranger things have happened. Who's to say that he can't get hot the next week and head up north with Pittsburgh and bang, or if something is to happen. But I just think that was something that was highlighted to me that I wanted to make light of.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing that I don't think is getting talked about enough is like Ro Flores has a golden opportunity here with these guys not hitting the guys ahead of him. Like if he had a really good spring and showed that he's capable behind the plate, he could force their hand and
Sure.
get himself in this conversation. But I mean, yeah, no one's really doing anything offensively right now behind the dish. So, Mark, anything to add before we wrap it up?
Just want to make sure everyone, if you haven't yet, thank you for listening. Make sure to click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3,000 here. Can only do that if you help us out. So really appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, but looking forward to the new subscribers we get along the way here as well. And if you subscribe, like the content, want to show it off to your friends and family, we have a merch store in the link down below. You can pick up a sweater, a hat, t-shirt, anything you can think of, a mug. We got it all in the store, so you can either scan the QR code or click the link below and check out some great stuff.
All right, Josh, any final words?
Subscribe, get some merch, and USA get it done. So
yeah,
we can enjoy, an epic night on Monday. USA and DR get it done so we can have this matchup on Sunday.
Yes. And we'll be recording during it. So maybe, we'll just live react to it.
No, we might record before.
Yeah.
We might have to.
So Paul Skeens threw 7 innings, struck out 12.
Or Paul Skeens got shelled. Like we could do both.
No, that won't happen. Yeah, we'll record too. Yeah.
But thanks as always to everyone who listens and keep tuning in. We'll be back next week here on Bucco Territory, presented to you by the Foul Territory Network.